Hello everyone, Miss Sandy here. First I want to start off by saying I miss all of you so much. I really wish I could see you every Thursday like we used to. I hope you and your families are staying well and healthy. I'm really excited that we found a creative solution to getting together once a week, and the plan is to do that. This is my kickoff video for you to get started. As you can imagine, doing tumbling virtually is going to be much more difficult than some other things. So what we're going to do is focus on some of the really important critical things that are going to help your tumbling skills, such as conditioning and some strength exercises. So that's what we're going to do today to get us kick started. Before I jump in there, I'll share my family and I are doing well. My husband and I are working from home during the day, and the boys, Zach and Luke, are in school during the day, and getting to spend some quality time together in the evening, which is actually a really nice byproduct of the current environment. So hope you're getting to do the same. And I actually had a chance to talk to Miss Heather. I actually talk to her quite frequently. We've been working together virtually on some choreography for routines and pulling that all together so that when we get together, hopefully soon in the future, we'll be able to really hit those routines hard and prepare for the end of the season. So, and she actually extends her well wishes as well, but she could not obviously join me today, and I'm not technologically savvy enough to kind of virtually include her. So anyway, before we get started, I actually have some housekeeping things and some instructions that I want to make sure that we go through so that we're safe. So first, as you do come to class, we always dress appropriately. I want you to do the same here. We're going to be doing some strength exercises, and I want to make sure that you are dressed in the right way. So as you see, I am actually wearing what I typically wear to class. So I thought that would be a great way to kickstart. So I hope you do the same. Please make sure you have a safe place to execute some exercises. So here, I'm in an empty room in my basement. Put down a little bit of carpeting, but just make sure you have a little bit of space, and just be really careful of your surroundings. For today at least, tried to keep everything pretty specific, so you don't have to go or move very far from an area. So, and I'll try to keep that in mind as we continue to do videos. So it's important to listen to your body. So I'm not going to be there with you to know if something is working for you or not from an exercise perspective. So really think about what your body's telling you. If I give you a specific exercise with a certain number of reps, if something's hurting, stop, right? Don't do it. Conversely, if actually the reps are not fatiguing the muscle group that we're working on, do more, right? I think that's perfectly okay. Just make sure you're listening to your body and staying safe, okay? So what's going to happen, how we're going to do this, in this video, I'm going to introduce a specific concept or exercise. After I explain the exercise and demonstrate, I'm going to ask you to pause the video so you can complete the number of reps that I recommend, okay? So, and then after you complete those reps, you can rejoin the video and listen for the next exercise. Or else it would be radio silence, and I'm honestly, as I tell you guys all the time, too old to keep up with all of you, and if I did all the reps that I know all of you can do, I may not be able to walk tomorrow. So I want to make sure I keep myself safe as well. So we're going to get ready to get started. I actually need to introduce my assistant because I just mentioned I'm kind of old and there's some things that I don't do anymore. My assistant, Luke Jordan. Luke, please come here. He's, I'm going to say, a little reluctant to help out, but he's going to. I will share, don't judge me for the fact that he has to wear a hat, but as you are all aware, every place is closed and he hasn't had a haircut in a very long time. And he will not let me cut his hair, which is probably a good, smart decision. So we're hiding it. And he's going to help demonstrate the exercises with us today as best he can, right? There's a couple we practiced, so I may point out some corrections as he does it so that we can make sure that you're doing it in the right way. So again, be sure to thank him. I'm going to be thanking him profusely. Actually, he was voluntold to do this, and maybe a little bribery was involved, but no judgment here. So with that, we're actually going to get started. So really quick, wait, can you hold this for one quick second? So there might be a glare on there, but I just want to run through what the exercises are that we're going to be doing today. Actually, the specific muscle groups that we're going to be focusing on. So here we're going to start with stretch, right? So It's not dissimilar to the stretches that we do in class. So honestly, you should be very familiar with those. We're gonna hit shoulders because, as you all know, shoulders are extremely important when it comes to doing a lot of our tumbling. Shoulders are crucial. I mean, even from something as basic as a handstand, right, to doing a back handspring, even to doing back tucks, knowing where to throw your arms is really helpful. Then we're going to jump into core, which obviously I'm sure you all are aware. Core is important with everything that you do. We're going to do hip flexors. I know you're going to cringe. I know you don't like this one, but I really trust that you're going to do it. It's really good for you. It's a muscle group that does not get a lot of exercise. So we're going to hit that. We're going to hit quads. They're a really important muscle group for us. We're going to do some ankles and wrists. So I'll lump those together because, as you know from tumbling, a lot of times our ankles get a little sore and our wrists get sore as well from the impact. And my fear is that with being away from class too long, that they're going to be sore when we get back. So I want to try and prepare our wrists for a time away from tumbling. I'm going to introduce a drill of the week. And then we're going to cool down doing a little bit of stretching. And then I'm going to give you a challenge. It's a little bit of homework before our next video comes out, and that way you can keep moving. So with that, we'll put this aside and we will get started with our stretches. So set that there. All right, so I'm actually not going to torture Luke with these, especially because you're already familiar with them. What I want you to do is I'm going to tell you what I want you to do, and I want you to pause the video, as we just mentioned. We're going to hit 3 things that are really important. I want you to do your splits, right and left leg. When you do them, I want you to really focus on your belly button facing your front knee. Whatever leg is in front, right or left. Pointed toe in the front. The back knee, extremely important. I want it turned under and I want it resting against the floor as you're down. It shouldn't be out to the side. You don't want to open your hips up in your split. You want to be straight on, okay? So I want you to do your right and your left leg split, and I want you to hold them for a minute each. I know you can do it, and I trust that you will. Straddle, we've done this too, where you put your elbows on the floor and your legs go straight out to the side. The goal here is to have a straight line from your foot to your hips, all the way down to your other foot, okay, as you're laying on the floor. You don't want your hips too far forward or too far back. We want them straight on, and I would like you to do that for a minute as well. The last thing I want you to do, and these are the same things we normally do in class, so I'm giving you a few things at a time here. I want you to push up to a bridge, and I want you to, as we always do, straighten your legs with your feet together and make sure your shoulders are over top of your wrists, and really open up your shoulder as you push your shoulders over your fingertips. And I want you to just hold that for 30 seconds. I don't want you to be upside down for too awful long. So remember, splits, straddle, and bridge. So do that, again, 1 minute, each split and straddle, 30 seconds for bridge. Pause this, do that, and then come back, okay? All right, our second exercise, as I mentioned, is gonna focus on the shoulders. So with this, I actually have some help here. What we're going to do, and as I mentioned, we need this for our handsprings, handstands, even our walkovers, really stretching out your shoulders. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a shoulder exercise. We're going to do it with no weight, right? But then I'm going to show you how you can add weight to make it more challenging, okay? So Luke's going to come over here and stand next to me. We're going to do this together. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold your arms. I'm going to do it sideways, and hopefully Luke can follow that. Actually, you do it sideways so that you can see me, okay? So your arms are going to be right next to your sides. Okay, you are going to take your elbows, keep your 90-degree angle with your arms. You're going to go up like this. So it's a straight line right across here, okay? Then you're going to rotate your hands up, but again, straight line across here, right? We're going to press up, bring our hands together, come back and reverse it. Come back down, rotate, down. So let's do that again. You're going to go up, rotate, press, back down, rotate, back to the original position. Okay, so that's one whole set. So let's do one whole set again. So up, rotate, press, back down, rotate, and down. That's one, okay? Now, that doesn't feel very challenging, what I'm going to ask you to do is, I'm using soup cans, okay? If you happen to have small dumbbells at home, or your parents have them, great, you don't want too much weight, but you're gonna grab those. Luke has his soup cans. I'm gonna do the same exact thing. So you're gonna start 90-degree angle, right? You're going to go up, rotate, breathe in. Oh, I added something, didn't I? Let's start over, okay? So 90-degree angle, up, rotate, extend, down, rotate, and back, okay? So what I want you to do is with or without weights, I want you to try that exercise, and I want you to try it. We don't need to do 10, we don't need to do all that many, just 10 times. So I want to see how that impacts your shoulders and see how it feels. It's not an exercise we've done before, so I want to make sure that it's going to feel okay. So I want you to do that 10 times, and then pause. So pause this video. Again, if you need to rewind it to see it again, go for it. Pause, and then come join me again for the next shoulder exercise. Okay. All right. Next shoulder exercise. We are going to do, this is where I need Luke's help, bridge push-ups. Oh, he's cringing. I don't think I'm going to do bridges anymore in my lifetime, so Luke's going to lay on the floor. This is something you're all actually going to be a lot more familiar with. He's going to push up into a bridge. Okay, straighten his arms, and he's going to bend his arms and straighten them. He doesn't even necessarily need to touch his head to the floor, just bend and straighten. Okay, working on those shoulders. What I would like you to do, so Luke, come on down. What I'd like you to do is I want you to do 10 reps, so do 10 of those push-ups, come down and rest for a moment, and then push back up and do 10 more, come down and rest, push back up and do 10 more, so that's 30 total. Again, if it seems to be too many or it's actually hurting in some regard anywhere, definitely stop, okay? But I encourage you to give it a try. I think that all of you can do that. So those are your bridge push-ups. That is the second exercise for shoulders, and that's where we're going to end shoulders for today. Okay? So we're going to pause the video, and I want you to go and do those bridge push-ups, and then come back and join me. Okay, so welcome back. Third is core. So I mentioned this is instrumental in pretty much most activities that you're going to do, right? We talk about it in class all the time. These actually, we've done this before, but I really want to have Luke demonstrate so I can point out the specific form that I really want you to have. So he's actually going to get in a push-up position. Go this way first. Actually, no, go straight on. Head towards the camera. Thank you. So we're going to get in a push-up position. So he's basically holding a plank, but on his hands. Now, what he's going to do is he's going to take one hand at a time and touch his opposite shoulder. Okay, and then the other one. And again, right, so each hand equals, oh my goodness, and he fell over. That's kind of funny. Try it again. Each shoulder. There you go. That's one. So each shoulder equals one. Okay, now stop for a moment. Now turn sideways when you do it. Okay, go ahead and push up again. And do it again. Now, what I want you to notice is what I don't want before you don't do it, sag your belly a little bit. This is not a good position, and then stick your butt in the air. Again, also not a good position. So I want him straight here, right? The other thing to keep in mind is do not shift your weight when you're moving a hand. You want to try and keep your whole entire body still, with the exception of your arms. It is extremely difficult, believe it or not, okay? So the idea is you're really strengthening the core to kind of balance as you do that exercise. So it's opposite hand, or hand to opposite shoulder, okay? One at a time. So what you're going to do is I want you to do 20 reps on each side, 20 reps, which is 10 on each side. So as one set, then I want you to rest for a moment, and then I want you to repeat it just one time. Okay, again, working on that core. So you'll end up doing 40 total, crossing your body, okay? And then we have one more core exercise to do. So pause the video, take a shot at doing those shoulder touches, and then come back. All right, second core exercise that I would like you to do is a side plank. So do you know what a side plank is? We didn't talk about this one, so I will actually just do this one. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna lay on your side, elbow down. And so a lot of you have done these before. This arm is straight up and down. Your feet are one on top of the other. Your hips, your belly button is facing forward. Your hip is facing the ceiling. You're going to lift your hip and you are just gonna hold it, okay? You're really, really, really working on these sides here, okay? Now, of course, what we do on one side, you have to do on the other. So then you flip around, okay? And do the same thing. Feet stacked, we're in a straight line, belly button forward, your side, your hip facing the ceiling, arms straight up and down, and you're gonna lift, hold it, okay, and then down. What I would like you to do is, how long did I think we should do this? Oh, not very long, so 30 seconds on each side. Again, if that's not challenging enough, add to it. I'm sure a lot of you can do more than that, but again, just to get back into the groove and getting some exercise in, 30 seconds on each side could be a good start for you. So with that, I want you to pause the video, and I want you to do both of those sides. Okay. Our fourth part of the body that we're focusing on today is our hip flexors. Okay, now again, I know a lot of you do not like this exercise. We've done it many times in the past, but I do think it's important. And this one I will not torture you with either. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna sit in a straddle. Toes pointed, of course. We are not leaning back, right? Knees are pointing toward the ceiling, okay? You're gonna put your hands in front. Do not put them behind you. You're gonna put your hands in front. We're gonna start by lifting one leg at a time. You're gonna lift your first leg, we're gonna rotate it 4 circles forward, set it down. Second leg, we're gonna lift it, rotate it 4 circles forward, set it down, and then we're going to do both legs, okay, at the same time. That is 1, okay? It's a lot for 1 rep, which is why we're not gonna do all that many. What you are gonna do is I'm gonna do 1 with you to practice, and then when you pause, I want you to do 3 sets of 3, which isn't very much, just because this is a difficult exercise. So remember, hands here, legs straight, toes pointed, sitting up tall, okay? You're gonna lift your leg up, and you're gonna circle, 2, 3, 4, backwards, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, and down, out. Next leg, you're gonna lift that up, same thing, forward, 2, 3, 4, backward, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, and down, out again. Okay, then we're gonna do them both. So both legs are down, straight, toes pointed, hands in the center. You can use those for support, and we're gonna lift both, forward, 2, 3, 4, backward, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, and down. I want you to try, this might be hard, try to do that 3 sets, rest, 3 sets, rest, 3 sets. Now that I'm saying that out loud, it does sound like a lot. If you can at least do 2, that would be fantastic. And with good form, I think that's really, really important. Okay, so again, pause the video. I want you to go and do that, and come back and join me, and we'll hit the quads. All right. 5th exercise we're doing today is focusing on the quads. So this is where I'm going to borrow Luke again. This is why he had to put sneakers on. Our floors down here are extremely slippery, and we were sliding. So we're actually going to do a wall sit. So it's pretty simplistic, but I want good form. And a lot of you have probably done this. I think in gym class I remember doing this, but I am dating myself maybe. So Luke's going to be against the wall. He's going to sit, and his arms are not touching his sides, right? He's at a 90-degree angle, so it's with his legs here. So he's really engaging his quadriceps here, okay? Rest for a moment. I want him, my goal is for you to have you hold that for, let me see, 30 seconds minimum. If you can go a little longer, that's great, but 30 seconds minimum. And I want you to rest, and I want you to do it again. Now, I do want to make it a little bit more difficult for some of you who think you can actually add to it, right? So what I'm going to have him do is do that again, but he's going to get my soup cans, okay? He's going to hold the soup cans just in like a bicep curl position, so 90-degree angle, but his elbows are not resting against his sides. They're free hanging here. So So he's really engaging also his bicep a little bit. So he can't forget about this angle here, okay? Really focusing on that, keeping his back against the wall, core tight, and holding those cans there to work that bicep. He's gonna do that for 30 seconds as well. You can come on down. 30 seconds, rest, 30 seconds. If you can do more than that, again, fantastic. But 2 sets of 30 seconds would be a great place to start. So we're gonna pause there, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna hit some ankles. So hit pause and do that one specific exercise, and then we'll get started again. Okay. So ankles. Again, I mentioned ankles and wrists are the thing that are concerning me the most with having a long break. Especially because a lot of you have achieved a lot of great things this year, and I'm very excited about it, and I want to make sure that, coming back, we're able to jump back in and be able to make sure that we still have those skills. So I want to make sure the wrists and ankles are healthy. So what I want to do is for ankles, again, this is actually going to be very simplistic, but I'm going to do a couple variations, but it'll be really helpful, okay? We're going to do heel risers. Again, that sounds really easy, but I'm going to make it difficult for some of you. And because it's a little bit of a movement, not a big movement, it's a lot more reps. So what I'd like you to do is, here, can you face them, and I'll face sideways. So when you're standing on the floor, all you're going to do is go up on your toes as high as you can, squeezing your calves and using your ankles as high as you can. So just go up and down, up and down. Now, if that's the only movement you're going to do, I actually want you to do 50. Oh, no, I missed. Sorry, I can't read my own handwriting. 30. But I want you to do it twice. So 30, rest, repeat, 30 more. But for some of you, that's not going to be difficult enough, and I recognize that. A way to make this more difficult and actually to really stretch things out and get your calf really engaged as well is to be in an elevated position so your heels can hang lower. So we're going to show you that in 2 ways. I am actually using a ream of paper. So it's for my printer, but it's actually packaged still. I didn't open it, so it's pretty contained and it's not going to go anywhere, I hope. So I'm going to show you here. Actually, I have socks on too. So here you'll see my heels are hanging off, okay? And just the balls of my feet are on the paper. So I can do the same thing, but I'm getting a more range of motion. So I'm going to go up on my high toe and down. Up on my high toe and down, okay? So I want you to do that same thing, 30, rest, 30. If you want even a little bit more of a challenge, Luke's going to do this next one. Only I have socks on and I don't want to slip off this carpeted stair here. I think you can see him, well, barely, but he's on the bottom step of my staircase. He's going to hold on to the rail, and he's going to hang his heels off as far as he can and just have the balls of his feet on. And he's going to do the same thing, up on his toes and back down as low as his heels go until you feel the pull in your calf. And then up and down with your feet hanging off, okay? So same concept, 30, rest, 30, okay? So with that, I want you to pause the video, work on some heel risers, either in flat, on something a little raised, like maybe a textbook. I use a ream of paper, or using a bottom stair. Please make sure you're safe if you're standing on something. That's why I don't want to go too high, more than like a book, because I feel like it's not safe. So with that, pause the video and then come back, and we will begin our next exercise. All right, so for wrists, this one I did some research on because we usually use our wrists so much and we're used to the impact that we don't take a lot of time to actually stretch them out or really work them beyond kind of circling, right? But I really wanted to actually see if there were some really good recommendations for how to really get your wrists in good shape and form. I found 2 exercises that I liked. So Luke's going to do this with me. He's going to hold 2 cans. I'm going to hold, well, actually, I'm going to do 1 can at a time, I decided. Just one, because I want to really focus on each arm. What you're going to do is you're going to hold the can. You're going to hold your palm up. And actually, I learned a lot when doing wrist research recently. Palm up and rotation is it's called supination position, which is interesting. So you're going to hold the can, and all you're going to do is your arm is going to be next to your side in a 90 degree, actually I'll go this way, Okay, 90-degree position. Actually, you face me so you can see. There we go. 90-degree position. And all we're going to do is take the can. Don't move this position here. And you're going to rotate your hand up and down. Okay, up. So your arm isn't moving. That's very important. This is not moving, right? Just your wrist. Okay. I want you to do one hand at a time on purpose, because I want you to really focus and take your time with it. Okay. And then, of course, what you do on one side, you must do on the other. So you would do the same thing. Position does not change here. Just goes roll it up and down. Roll it up and down. And really give that wrist a little bit of strengthening. And I want you to do that. Now, again, I think that this is a new one for us. So I wanted to try it, just do 10 on each side and see how that feels. If you feel like you can do some more, that I would say maybe go up to 20 on each side. But I wouldn't go higher than that, just to kind of see how it works out. The other one is a little bit, I think a little more difficult. So you're going to hold the can in the same position. And this is, as I mentioned, this is a supination position and rotation that we're going to do. And we're also going to do what's called a pronation position. So supination is basically, I remember it being facing up because I'm holding a soup can up, right? And then what you're going to do, your arm is going to be very tight against your side, okay? Because you want to focus on the forearm and the wrist, not anything else, okay? You want to take this can and you are going to rotate it over to a pronation position, which is what this is called when your palm is facing down. Again, don't engage the upper part of the arm. You're just going to rotate, supination, pronation, supination, pronation, okay? And then of course you're going to do the other side. And again, one arm at a time, because I want you to really focus on the movement and not worry about two hands at the same time. I want you to really focus. So supination, rotate over, pronation. Supination, pronation. Okay? So same concept. Again, don't keep this isolated up here, just moving the lower half of your arm. Okay? Now, again, this is a new exercise. I tried it a few times. I think that from a rep perspective, I would like you to try to do that 10 times on each arm, rest, and then 10 times again on each arm. Okay? So, with that, we're going to pause the video. Remember, you're doing 2 exercises. Hold the can, wrist up, down, oh, I did it backwards, up, down, on both sides. And then the supination, pronation, rotation, okay? So, again, 10 for each of those exercises. Pause the video, go and do those. If you need to rewind to see it again, absolutely do that. And then rejoin me, and we're going to go over the drill of the week. Okay? All right. Just check here. Okay. Okay. All right. So that concludes our strength exercises that we were going to focus on today. But because we're tumblers, right, I wanted to do a drill that you can do safely in your home with space and being conscious of that. That is going to help you in your tumbling in a different way, more active. Now, poor Luke has never done this before until earlier today, and so I'm going to work with him a little bit and show you what I want you to do. A lot of you have seen this before and maybe even done it, but this is something I want everybody to do. Now, it is a drill for a back tuck. What's important to note is you don't need to be already working on a back tuck to do this drill. This is actually going to help prepare you in the future. And being that this is a higher level class that we have, I want to make sure that we're preparing you and getting you thinking about these types of things. So, what we're going to do is we're actually going to do a tuck jump, and I know it sounds silly, but we're going to do it in a very specific way. So Luke is going to stand here, and he's going to put his legs together. Now, actually, before you go, reminder, tuck, right? Your knees come to your chest, right? They do not kick your bottoms, okay? Because that's not going to be effective, and that's not what this drill is about. Despite where I want your knees to go, the real focus of this drill is your arms. So Luke's going to start with his arms here, straight out, like a zombie, right? Then he's going to, don't go anywhere, he's going to jump. When he jumps, the very first thing he does is he throws his arms here. Okay? Now, you can put your arms down. To do a back tuck properly, if you have to do that motion, we call it setting for a back tuck. You have to set, right? That actually gives you your height. If your arms coming out of whatever trick you're doing, round off or a back handspring or anything else, going into a back tuck, if your arms do not go here, your back tuck will not be as high as it could be. This is also applicable to a layout, okay? It's also applicable to front tucks, right? So anything that you need to get air and height is gonna come from your arms here, okay? So this is one of the things we wanna do. Here's what's gonna happen. And again, a lot of you already probably know, but you're gonna start with your arms out like a zombie again, his legs are together. What he's gonna do is he's gonna throw his arms up in the air as he tuck jumps, because that's the tucking motion for back tuck and front tuck. Okay, so I'm actually just gonna hold his hips so that he can make sure he gets his knees up, and he's gonna jump. Okay, so the idea is here, you're going to jump, okay? Now, it doesn't sound that complicated, but it's really hard to get the arms right. So actually, it'd be ideal if you could be in front of a mirror doing this. However, if that is not possible, it's completely fine. Just really focus on getting those arms up, or maybe even a parent can watch you or a sibling can watch you to see if you're really getting your arms up to where they need to be. They should be right next to your head. So with that, I want you to try 10 of those tuck jumps. And again, these aren't, don't just stand there and do tuck jumps as fast as you possibly can. Really focus on your arms. I think that that's the crucial part. I think I was just eyeballing 10 of these. Yep, 10 times or more. So that's the first drill I want to do. I actually want to do a second one. That's not on my notes, but after you pause and do those 10 tuck jumps, you can come back and we'll hit that second drill. Okay? All right. So I didn't tell you about this one. Second drill of the week. So what we're going to do is, we talked a lot about how your shoulders are super, super important. And we talked about all the different uses for your shoulders, right? Back handsprings, handstands, walkovers, all these different things. Front handsprings, that's something I didn't mention, but I think every time I talk to you about your front handsprings, the first word I say is about your shoulders. So what we're going to do to get these shoulders operating the way they should in all of these skills, we're going to practice moving our arms up and down without bending our arms. So Luke, put your arms straight in the air, move your arms up and down without bending them. Or keep them next to your ears. See, I'm tricking him. I'm seeing if he can figure it out. Move your arms up and down without lowering them in front of your face. Exactly. I knew that was going to be the case. So, not correct. What I want you to do is, when you put your arms up here, moving your arms up and down without bending them and without lowering them is this motion. I don't know if you can see that, right? But this motion here, okay? You have to have that in all of your handspring skills, front and back, okay? So what I want you to do is put your arms up here, and I want you to just shoulders up and down, up and down. Now, you could probably do a lot of those, but I think it's an important motion. So I would say maybe try that, maybe up and down 30 times to practice that motion. And yeah, so give that a whirl. It's pretty easy, but really try and focus on moving those shoulders and not bending your arms, and keeping your arms next to your ears as they're going up and down. Okay, so with that, again, pause and come back, and then we'll move on. All right, so we have 2 more things I want to accomplish today. So we stretched, we did some strengthening exercises, and we just did 2 drills that we use in tumbling that we will need for all of our tumbling skills. So now I actually want to do a couple more stretches to actually cool down a little bit before we do our very last thing. So with that, there's 3 things I wanted to actually stretch here. Luke, stretching does not excite him, so he's going to move out of the way. So first, again, we spent a lot of time on our shoulders today from strength and a drill. So what I want to do is, actually, you could do this with me, it's not that bad. What you're going to do is you're going to just put your hands behind you like this. But what you probably can't see in the video is my pinkies are touching. Just a very little bit, okay? And then what I'm going to do is keep my arms straight, and I'm going to move my hips, slide my hips forward as far as I can, okay? Now, some people are going to be able to go very far, and some people like me are not going to be able to. But what I want you to do is just hold this, okay? We're just stretching it out and opening up our chest a little bit. And again, listen to your body. You don't want to go too far, okay? So you're just going to slide out Stretch out your shoulders as much as you can. Pinkies touching behind you. And again, all we have to do is hold that. We don't have to hold it for very long. I would say maybe 30 seconds. Okay? So that's stretch number 1. Stretch number 2 is the wrists, again, because I'm very worried about those. What I want you to do is just, you can have a seat, put your arms straight out, okay? This way, straight out. And you're just gonna take your fingertips and just pull back slightly. Again, don't hurt yourself. Keep your arms straight here. And just pull your wrists a little bit, okay? Or your fingertips a little bit to stretch your wrist out, okay? And then, of course, you must switch sides and do the other side, okay? So I want you to do both sides, hold each one for 20 seconds each, 30 seconds each, okay? Just to really get that good stretch in there. And then the third one is I want you to do a cat stretch. Well, I call it like seal and a cat stretch. So you're going to, we'll go sideways again. You're going to push your hips forward and look up at the ceiling, okay? Really stretch out your back a little bit. And I want you to just hold that for 10 seconds. And then without moving your hands and feet, or your knees and feet, is push your hips back and do a cat stretch, really trying to press your armpits to the floor, okay, your shoulders to the floor, and putting your head down, stretching out your shoulders as well, and hold that for 10. And then go through again to the seal, right, and then a cat stretch, okay? So I want you to do that a couple of times, just to really kind of stretch your body out, okay? So I'm gonna have you pause, but again, don't forget your shoulder stretch, your wrists, and your seal and your cat stretch. I want you to do those a couple of times each, and then come back and we'll finish up with the last thing I wanted to cover today. All right, last thing, okay? So I was thinking about this when I'm thinking about the best way to kind of work with you, and I thought, what better way? I know a lot of us are competitive, and thought I'd give you a little bit of a challenge that you can work on. And many of you have probably done this before, so I thought I'd start with an easy one and something you're familiar with. So what I would like to do is, starting today, whatever day it is that you're watching this video, I want you to do a plank, okay? So just to remind you, I just want to show body position, so I'm going to have Luke show it real quick. On your elbows, go sideways, please. So Luke's in a plank position. He's on his elbows. This is straight up and down as much as he can. His belly is not sagging and his hips are not in the air and he's on his toes. So the idea is this is very, very tight. His head is not leaning on his hands, because that's not an effective way of doing it. So he's staying a nice, strong, straight body. You can come down. Simple plank, not difficult. I know you've done it before. What I want you to do is every day, until we go back to class, and we don't know when that's going to be, till we're physically, I take that back, till we're physically at the studio, I want you to do a plank. And I want you to start day 1 with 30 seconds. Unless you want to start higher, that's fine too, but 30 seconds. But every day that you do it, I would love for you to add a little bit of time. 10 seconds, 1 second, or 30 seconds, it could be up to you. But every day, just a little bit of time. And then if you track it all, write it all down, I want you to bring that piece of paper to the first time we're physically back in class again. Bring that in, and I'm hoping that you all participate and we can take a look at the results and we can celebrate. Maybe I'll bring in a treat if everybody does it, and we can celebrate our success of being able to hold a really long plank. I did this not that long ago. I'm hoping you can beat me. I only got up to, I think, 4 minutes and around 30 seconds a plank. So hopefully you can beat that over time, work your way up there, and we can talk about it in class. And I'm not sure if I know we're loading this onto the Facebook invite. I'm not sure if you can make comments, but if you want to keep me posted on your progress, you can post it there and I can take a look. I just don't want it to be a competition between all of you. I want you to beat your personal best. I don't want you to worry about beating somebody else in terms of duration of time. So I'm hoping that we'll participate in a challenge. I'm hoping next week I'll also be able to come up with another challenge for us to think about and do as well, because I really think it's important to keep your body active. So in addition to the planks, every day does not take much time out of your day. Like it could be just 1 minute. I would love for you to stay active and moving, right? I know this is a strange time, but I think it's really important. So if I know my family and I, we went for a walk the other day around the block, keeping our safe distance from anyone else who was also out for a stroll, right? If you have a safe place to go for a walk with your family, great, right? If you just want to stay active and walk around your house, that's great too. Just make sure that you talk to your parents first as well. But I want you to try and stay active. The weather is starting to get nice. I'm hoping that maybe we can do some exercises outside at some point. Maybe I can record a video out there that we can go through. So with that, I think that's all I wanted to cover for today. The one last thing is that, you know, this video doesn't have to be a once and done. So it's out there forever now for you in this invite. So feel free to do it a couple of times before our next video comes out, which should be next Thursday. Oh gosh, I don't know what date. Oh, the 9th. This is the day before Luke's birthday. So on the 9th, I'm going to put out another video. So if you can do this set of exercises in this video a couple of times leading up to then, you'll be in a pretty great place to take on a whole nother set of exercises. So with that, I'll say goodbye. Again, I'm really excited about connecting with you in this way, and hopefully the next